Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we're going to be talking about stones openings. Now, as I've done with the previous videos, this is a video that I've done before, and I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently than the first opening video. I know in the last opening video, I talked about a little bit about the bottom track opening. I'm just going to not even talk about it. I think it's just strictly weaker than the other build, or the build that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So I'm going to call this build the standard version of stone. We're going to start the game by choosing G3, and we're going to go a presence from top track. Now, stone's top track gives stone energy, card plays, and free miners. In contrast, stone's bottom track just gives you elements. And the idea behind this is okay, you would grab bottom track elements and then you'd be able to hit these innates easier. Now, that would work, except stone's reclaim gives you the 2 earth. It's as if you grew on bottom track twice without having to do that. And we're going to exploit our reclaim to take advantage of that. And that's really what breaks this opening in half. Okay, so turn 1, we're going to G3. We're going to go presence from top track. Now, you get your first decision of the game, and that is, do you want a minor or a major? And I almost always recommend getting a minor here. Now, there are some major drafts that it can be great if you pick it up early. You can build a plan around it, but I like picking a minor here because that allows you to have another option to play on turn 1 instead of Jagged Shards. Now, Jagged Shards is great because this lets you push to Han and set up a defend. But in some cases, let's say on board B, your sand comes up turn 1. Well, you already have Dahan there. So you don't need to move Dahan to defend that land. So you would rather play a different card instead. And this is where having a minor draft is excellent, because then if you pick up like Gift of Constancy, or if you pick up a card like Gift of Power, Gift of Constancy, you could play that and support the team. And if you go with a major turn 1, you're not going to want to play that major on turn 1. It just kind of sits in your hand. So that's why I like to pick a minor on turn 1. And in addition, the other reason is a lot of the good majors with stone they cost around 3 and 4, and you only have 3 energy. So if you end up drafting one of the 4 cost majors like Unrelenting Growth, there it is, you can't even play a turn 1. So like, might as well just wait and draft again next turn. The only reason I can see someone drafting a major on turn 1 is if they're focusing solely on majors and they want to grab another major on turn 2, and that would be with a follow-up G3. But I think that style of play is just strictly worse than this build. Okay, so we choose G3 top track. I like playing Jagged Shards. The presence that I'm placing, I like to place presence where my presence is not. And this is something that I'm going to cover in the next video more in depth. But as you can see here on board B, I started on B2, start on B4, and both my wetlands and sands, I don't have presence. So ideally, when I G3 this turn, I want to either put presence here in B5 or presence here in B1. Looking at turn 2, I like to G3 again. Now, I'm going to be picking up that major, so I then draft a major, and I like forgetting plows. This is something that we talked about in the previous video, because I really don't like playing this card. So we draft a major, we decide what we want, we put it in our hand. Now, you're going to have 5 energy. I recommend not playing the major. So the idea behind the major on this turn is we plan to play it in 2 to 3 turns once we're kind of unlocked. You just want to have this card in your hand so you can build a plan around that card. I've seen some players draft just only minors, and you can have 2 minors instead of the major. I think the major is slightly better because now you're sitting with 5 energy, and now you have the energy in case if you do flip up that Unrelenting Growth, or if you do pick up Indomitable Claim, you can play these prolif style effects because you have the energy. Now, I always like to be playing Stubborn Solidity on this turn. You move to Han turn 1, turn 2 you defend, and then you have a flex. And this flex is where you can play one of the 2 minors, the minor you gained on turn 1, or the minor that you're going to pick up from uncovering this minor spot here. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves with stone is sometimes players, they'll choose G3 this turn. They won't even place the presence. They'll actually gain the minor from the symbol first, but that's not how it's written. you actually have to place the presence on the island before you gain this minor power from that symbol. And that's important because some minor powers require sacred sites, some minor powers are zero cost. So you'll have to place that presence before you see what your draft is. So like now, if I pick up like Promises of Protection here, I won't be able to play it this turn because I've created no sacred sites. So you have another micro decision on turn 2, where are you placing your presence? Are you making that sacred site, or are you going to enter the fourth terrain type? Okay. So now for the rest of the game, so from turn 3 onward, I like to G1 reclaim, and the reason for this is we'll be getting those 2 Earth from the reclaim. And hopefully on turns 1 and 2, you've placed presence in all of the land types, which means whenever you reclaim, your presence just goes in one of those lands, or you can access that one mountain that your presence isn't in. So you have 5 different lands where you can place presence, and then ideally you want the Dahan to cover the lands that your presence is not. So like B8, B3, these are the lands where your Dahan will be setting up their attack base there, I guess. Now, whenever I reclaim, I'm gaining my 2 Earth, and that's important because now we're going to be hitting our innates. At least tier 1, likely tier 2, because we'll be playing 2 Earth cards, and then it won't matter until we get to the 5 Earth here, but you'll be upgrading this right innate as well. Also, when you're reclaiming your best cards, and like I've stated in the previous video, your best card is Stubborn and Jagged Shards. Like, these are the cards you want to be playing. So honestly, the reclaim just makes everything work all at once. Now I don't have it here, but some players when they on turn 3 they like to G3 again, and sometimes it works. It really just depends what your minor drafts were on the previous turn or the previous turns. If you drafted good defense, or maybe like Gift of Power, or maybe you drafted Gift of Constancy and you were able to reclaim a card. Um, if you have extra cards in your hand and you don't need to reclaim to play these cards, then you can G3 again. Now there is the negative of not hitting this innate, this 4 Earth threshold, which could make your energy a little bit tighter because you'll have to pay more energy to pay for the blight that's coming off this blight card, or to prevent the blight from coming off that blight card. Now, a mistake that I see a lot of players do is on this turn 3 here, instead of placing presence from top track, they like to play presence from bottom track, and I think it's a trap. And the reason for that is, if you see here, we have 2 card plays. So we have Jagged Shards as well as Stubborn Solidity. You have your 2 Earth, and now look at, you have an Earth from bottom track. So now you can hit that innate here. And I really think this is a trap. And the reason for that is Stone doesn't care how many invaders are in a land, because the right innate is a cast down. It's going to kill everything once you max it out eventually. So against a lot of adversaries, getting this earlier doesn't matter unless you can completely wipe out the land, because it's going to come up later in the game, and then in that case, you're just going to kill it anyway. And a lot of the reason why players like grabbing the second earth, this first Earth down here, is because they want, it's a satisfaction. They want to be able to kill invaders on that turn, but really they need to leave the tension on the board. And this is something that I learned when I was playing chess, where a lot of times players will like to simplify positions, and there is cases in chess where you want to do that, but a lot of times you want to have the position be as complicated as possible, well, to make it more difficult for your opponent. But in this case, we have an answer for it later, so it's somewhat similar. Not an exact analogy, but hopefully you guys get the point. Now, in the previous openings video, I talked about what is the trade-off of grabbing this Earth, and I showed a nice diagram, and I spent a lot of time on it. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. If you choose this Earth on bottom track, what does it do? It's going to cost you 2 energy and also 2 card plays overall. So, what do I mean by that? Because you're grabbing a presence from bottom track, you delay the extra card plays by 1 turn, which is going to cost you 2 card plays total. Like you're playing 2 less card plays because you've opted to grab that lower Earth. Now, the last thing before I move on to the next part of the opening is sometimes it is correct to grab the Earth. I think France is like the main adversary where you really need to actually kill invaders because there's that town limit. Some double adversaries grabbing this earth is critical because you need to sustain this left innate a lot easier by playing off element. So there are cases, but I think most of the time you shouldn't be doing it, especially if you're playing just single adversaries. I think you'll end up with better results if you stick to just top track. So we've talked about, so yeah, we're G1ing top track, play my 2 earth cards, maybe I play some minors, maybe I squeeze in a major. It really just depends on my drafts. And you're going to notice for the rest of the game, we're going to be choosing that G1. So we're going to G1 again on turn 4, and we're going to G1 on turn 5. And as we move along top track, we're going to increase the number of cards we can play, but we also can increase the number of cards that we gain. So as you can see, it's just pretty absurd strategy. Now, once you've uncovered the 3 plays here, you now will have the 3 earth that you need. Oops, there we go. I'll just do this. You'll have your 3 earth that you need, plus the 2 earth from reclaim. So now you can hit this innate here. So if you just wait a single turn compared to last turn, so on turn 4, you can max out this innate without delaying your card plays by just continuing top track. So like for the players that are always grabbing the bottom earth, like I said, just delay it one single turn and you'll get it for free anyways. And looking at the final, I guess the final option that I've chosen here, or the final phase is this is turn 5. And we'll be having the 6 energy. Well, we're reclaiming again. We have all these minors. We have a major. We have our uniques, and we're just ready to go. And overall, I find this opening to be very effective for Stone. Haven't had any issues with it. Really, that break point is at turn 3. Are you going to go bottom track for that 1 earth or not? Like I said, I recommend against it. And then eventually, once you get to turn 7, your board should look like this. And on turn 7, you'll have the 4 card plays for the 4 earth, plus you'll have the earth from bottom track, the 2 earth here, and then if you play 2 sun cards, you'll be able to max out that right innate. And that's when you'll have a right innate that completely wipes out a land. If you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I will see you guys in the next video.